Hello, everyone. This is Dino. Just want to take a few minutes today to discuss just a very short topic. I actually roll this PowerPoint every year in the month of January to all my brokers. The title of this topic is Tort Deductible. So just to give you a background, the word tort, you may know if you did the Rebo, it means a civil wrong, that somebody has done something wrong to another person. And then the deductible is an amount the insured agrees to pay when they make a claim. And you're wondering, so what is that all about? It's very confusing. So you just mentioned that it's something, somebody has done something wrong, and now someone is willing to pay a deductible. What the connection? And moreover, this is something you must be talking to your clients in every single call that you're having with your client when they call to set up a new policy, like an automobile policy, when they call to make a vehicle substitution, vehicle addition, as well as when they want to add a driver, you must be talking about the store deductible. Okay, let me just quickly share my screen before you throw something at me because you're probably kind of confused right now what I'm talking about. All right, in a moment, you should see my screen with this big title, Tort Deductible. Okay, so what is this all about? Starting January 1st, 2025, the tort deductible amount has been set at $46,790.05. And you're saying, oh, okay, now everything is very clear now. This is the who is paying this amount, this huge amount. Okay, let's continue the story here. However, if the claim is valued at $155,965.54 or greater, the deductible does not apply. Hold on. I'll get to that. As you are aware, we are required by regulation to offer the tow deductible option to all our automobile clients as part of the optional accident benefit coverages. Oh, now we are talking, right? We're getting somewhere. We are talking optional accident benefit coverages. Now, surveys have shown that almost 80%, circa 80% of the brokers, they rarely discuss the tow deductible option with customers. And that's not a good thing. I'll tell you why. That will lead to errors and omissions claim by the customers. And why is that? You did not tell them that there is a possibility that they can save $10,000 in a court case. Okay, let's just dive into it and see what's going on here. A brief history about the tow deductible. So, tow deductibles, which were first introduced in 1996, were intended to reduce the litigation of minor claims and were seen as a trade off for an affordable and comprehensive accident benefit system. So, okay, let me just translate that into English, like just plain English. Let's say you are involved in an accident, God forbid, and you are injured, and you get so upset because the other party was so negligent and he or she was completely at fault, and it wasn't your fault at all. You're just driving to work, and now your day is ruined. You are injured. You're being taken to the hospital. Now you decide to launch a lawsuit against that person asking for compensation. So what happened was there were just so many court cases everywhere. People are suing everybody else. So the government in 1996, they tried to slow down the litigation, slow down the lawsuits. People are just suing each other. And they introduced a deductible. Okay, so you can see in 1996, November, they said, if you want to make a lawsuit against somebody, And let's say you're being awarded $25,000, and we're going to ask you to pay the court $30,000. What? I'm being given 25 and I have to pay 30,000? They said yes. Oh, and then I'm not going to sue that person. You see, my friends, this was the reason. Now go back and reread that sentence. So these were intended to reduce the litigation of minor claims. That's why I mentioned 25. And now you're being asked to pay 30,000 deductible. That means they said that the judge's salary, the court cost, and so on and so forth. And the government set it as $30,000 deductible. So obviously, you have to have a big claim, okay? Because you should first pay 30,000, and then what you take home then. So if it's a smaller claim, you will not be taking that other person to court, okay? So the deductible did not apply. However, where the general damages were assessed at $100,000 or higher. This is in November 1996. So what that means is, in simple English, let's say you launch a lawsuit against the person who injured you in a car accident, and then now the judge is giving you $150,000, okay, or 110,000. Anything more than 100,000, you did not have to pay the deductible. You took all of that home. But anything less than 100,000, you are asked to pay $30,000. Okay, so that was back in 1996. And what happened was people were complaining about this. They said, look, if I want to sue somebody who caused me bodily injury, I should be allowed to sue that person, okay? So this whole deductible business, it's an impediment. It is blocking us. It is taking away my right. Okay. So these were heavily criticized by the Ontarians. And so they argued that these impede access to justice. You're taking away my right by putting this $30,000 in front of me that I have to pay this. So in 2007, as part of the Civil Justice Reform Project, the Honorable Justice Coulter Osborne was given this project, okay? And he was asked to study this, why there are so many complaints by the Ontarians. And so he acknowledged that the deductibles, they did play a role in keeping insurance premiums under control because not many people were suing each other because of the 30,000 deductible. But then he suggested that the government review whether they should be decreased, the 30,000, or totally abandoned. This was his suggestion after the study. So in response to Justice Coulter Osborne's study, on September 1st, 2010, the Ontario government, they didn't abandon this, but then they introduced an endorsement, OPCF 48. Okay, so OPCF obviously stands for Ontario Policy Change Form. And the title of that is Added Coverage to Offset Tort Deductibles. That means, again, in plain English, the province introduced this OPCF 48, which enabled the Ontarians to reduce the tort deductible from 30,000 to 20,000. So it was reduced by 10,000. Okay. So if a case that you launched about against somebody and you're being given $40,000 and you have to pay 30,000 tort deductible, right? But this endorsement, if you purchase this, you'll be paying a few dollars more every month along with your premium. It's going to cost you some money. You only have to pay 20,000. So you're saving an additional 10,000. So that was the intention of this OPC 48. Okay. This is how it works. Suppose you were injured in a motor vehicle accident collision in Ontario for which you were not at fault. This is how you're going to explain to your customer. And you have the right to seek compensation from the at-fault driver. Now, your right includes seeking compensation for various damages, one of which is for pain and suffering. That means you've been affected by this accident so much. We're not just talking about bodily pain. Mentally, you are affected because the injury is so bad, it's going to change your life. For example, you're not able to do the same work like what you're doing before. You're probably going to be in a wheelchair and things like that. Okay. So just so you know, our industry likes to play around with a lot of words. I don't know why. So there are three other names also mean the same thing, pain and suffering, which is like a very serious or catastrophic injury. So they are as follows: non-economic, non-pecuniary, and general damages. If you come across any of these phrases, names, they all refer to the same thing. Okay? So they're all referring to catastrophic or permanent injuries. Okay. So to seek this type of compensation from the at-fault driver who injured you, so the injured person must have either died or sustained permanent serious disfigurement or permanent serious impairment of an important physical, mental, or even psychological function, as long as it is permanent. Then you are allowed to sue the other party. Okay? So let's say you sustained this permanent injury and now you sued the other party and you're being awarded $100,000. Now, what happened to that 30,000? Every year it was increased, and we were given the reason that this is because of inflation. So this amount is connected to Consumer Price Index, CPI. So what I do normally, 1st of January, the first thing that I do when I wake up on 1st of January, right? I have nothing else to do. I go to Google and then I type in what is the tort deductible as of like 2025, okay, whichever year. What is the tort deductible? And that's how I find out. Then I make a PowerPoint, a broadcast PowerPoint, send it to all my brokers. Why? Because a customer could be launching a lawsuit as of January 1st against somebody. They need to know what the amount they're supposed to pay. Every year it changes. You can see now, as of January 1st, 2025, it's now no longer 30,000. It's been increasing every year. Now it's $46,790.05. So in the example cited above, you're being given $100,000 by the judge, and you're only going to take home $53,210. Okay? No wonder the Ontarians have been complaining. So this slide shows you the official the announcement that came up as of January 1st, 2025. So I'm recording this for you guys the 10th of January. So I just sent it out to my broker. So I wanted to also send it to you guys. So you know this is very important because when you're discussing the optional accident benefits with your customers, you must discuss this, one of the items, okay? So you can see in 2024, it was $46,053. So now it's increased to $46,790. And then if the award by the judges, the jury and the judge is more than 155,965, the deductible does not apply. So this is called a threshold amount. Remember that, okay? So that's the amount after which the deductible does not apply. Okay. So just to finish this, bring it to a close, when you're setting up a new automobile policy or adding or substituting a vehicle or adding a driver to the policy, you are required to offer the client all the optional action benefits, including the OPC of 48 added coverage to offset total deductible, by which the customer can save $10,000. Okay. Now, using your example about if the customer purchases this optional endorsement, he or she will only have to pay $36,790 rather than $46,790. Okay, that's a significant saving, like $10,000 saving, right? Now, what I'm going to do here, just to help you guys out, I've just created like a conversational some points that you can talk to your clients while going through the optional action benefits, which you're supposed to do according to the province in every single call dealing with the automobile. Whether you're setting up a new policy, adding a driver, adding a car, or substituting a vehicle, you must be going through this. Let's just go through this, and if you like this, you can practice this and you can use this in your own work. Okay, so you go it. So one of the main coverage you have to discuss with the customers is action and benefits. So you're going to start off like this. You can say, Mr. Smith, your policy provides you with several standard action benefits, such as medical, rehab, and there are many others. There are also several optional action benefits that you can choose from. I'd like to go over with you these options. Now, let me pause. Please don't ask the customer, would you like to go through them with me? Because many of them say, no, 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 don't worry about it. I don't want it. See, you miss the opportunity to discuss them. Remember, the province is asking you that you must be discussing this every single one of them. There are 8 of them, okay, with a customer. Now, some brokers will try to escape from it by asking, so, you have the standard benefits, Mr. Customer, everybody gets in Ontario the same thing, but you also have some optional benefits, but you have to pay extra for it. Are you interested? Of course, the majority of the customers say, no, 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 don't worry about it. I'm not interested. You see, they try to avoid discussing this, which is a major problem. It'll lead to errors and omission claim. Okay, and I can show you so many lawsuits against the brokers for not discussing this. This is very serious. Okay, so the first optional action benefit is called the income replacement, and this takes like 2 or 3 minutes to read the whole thing. If you're unable to work, you're talking to the customer here during the conversation. Okay, if you're unable to work after an accident, you will receive 70% of your gross income, this before the taxes, right? But capped at a maximum of 400 a week. This is income replacement. Now, what are you going to do with the 400 a week? With the prices going up like this, right? Now you're telling the customer you have the option to increase this amount to 600, 800, or even 1,000 a week. Would you be interested in any of these options? So this whole thing took me about 15 seconds. Okay, you already knocked up one. The customer says, "Oh no, it's okay. I don't want it." That's fine, because the important thing is you have to offer the option. Okay. And the second one, if you are a full-time caregiver to someone in your family, and if you are injured in a car accident, you will receive $250 a week if you sustain any catastrophic permanent injuries. So what's this all about? The caregiver. I know you covered this in Rebo, but just a quick refresher. So your customer now is to take care of either mom or dad because they have Alzheimer's or, dementia, whatever it is. And then she cannot afford to get somebody from a nursing home to, because you have to pay by the hour. So she gives up her job and now she's taking over the parent she become the full-time caregiver. It's a huge sacrifice. Now she's asking, what if I am injured in a car accident and now I need to get somebody, I have to pay somebody to take care of my parents. So do I get anything from the car policy? Yes, you are going to get $250 a week if you're injured yourself, but then you must sustain catastrophic injury yourself to get the 250. And then she's asking, oh, that's unfair. I mean, what if I have sustained a non-catastrophic injury, non-permanent injury? Can I get the 250? Well, you have to pay more. That's why this option. You do have the option to make this 250 available for also non-catastrophic, non-permanent injuries as well. Would you like this option? Okay. Now the next one. If you're injured in a car accident, you sustain any catastrophic permanent injuries, you will receive $100 a week toward housekeeping and home maintenance expenses because you are injured. But then your injury has to be catastrophic to get the $100. But if you buy this option, you do have the option to make this $100 available also for non-catastrophic injuries. Would you like me to add this option for you? So we already done 4 of them now. Okay. The next one, your standard action benefits do not provide any dependent care benefits if you are injured in a car accident. Let's say your customer has children and now she's injured in a car accident. She has to get somebody from a mall-you-made or something, to take care of the children. But then it's not included in the standard benefits. She has to purchase by paying a few dollars extra. So you do have the option to add this benefit. The option will provide you $75 a week for the first dependent and $25 for the additional dependents with a maximum benefit of $150 a week, regardless of how many dependents she has. Would you be interested in this option? So you're asking your client. So we're almost done. Now, this is the big one because it covers the medical, rehab, and attendant care. So for medical, rehab, and attendant care, your standard benefits provide up to $65,000 for non-catastrophic injuries and $1 million for catastrophic injuries. Now, this is standard. Everybody in Ontario get the same amount, okay? Now, the customer has the option. So you have the option to increase the 65,000 to 130,000 or up to even 1 million for non-catastrophic injuries. And the option to increase the 1 million to 2 million for catastrophic injuries. Can you imagine how important are these options? Because the customer is able to either double the amount from 65 to 130 or even take it to 1 million for non-catastrophic injuries and the option to increase 1 million for the standard for catastrophic to 2 million. You also have the option to purchase a combined increased limit of 1 million for the non-catastrophic and 2 million for catastrophic injuries, making it a combined total benefit of $3 million. Would you be interested in any of these options? Now, let me give you a context. On my policy, I purchased the third option here, the combine. So when I purchased the combine, now I'm with Aviva. Combine, they call it as medical rehab attendant care for all injuries, non-catastrophic and catastrophic put together. So my non-catastrophic amount increased from 65 to a million, and my catastrophic increased from 1 million to 2 million. So I got a total benefit of $3 million. And this for two people, for me and my wife. Do you know how much I'm paying? $140 for the whole year. So $140 for the whole year. This is why I'm telling you guys, you must give this option to your customers because this is not expensive at all. So I pretty much increased my benefits almost like 15 times, from 65 to a million. You do the math, right? So I'm $140 or $45 to be exact. And if I divide that by two, so that's like $72 per person, okay? So let's say $75, and I'm going to divide that by 365. So I'm paying 20 cents a day. 20 cents a day. How much you spend on coffee, right? Just to give you a context. To increase my limits by so many times, right? Why I'm telling you this. This is very important to discuss with your customers because they're going to put the blame on you. So we had a customer who was badly injured and he was never given the option. So he very quickly finished the $65,000. Finished very quickly, okay? Then somebody told him, why didn't you buy the option? It just doesn't cost you much. And he said, nobody told me. So to make a long story short, he called a lawyer. The lawyers, they know all these options. You wake up a lawyer in the middle of the night, like a bodily injury lawyer, he can recite to you what I'm just going through in the slides here. In his sleep, he can recite to you. Hey, the non-cat of 65 can make it to 130 or 1 million. He can tell you all this. They know. So the lawyer told this client, okay, do you remember they gave you the option? He said, no. Okay, let's call them. So we listened to the call, and the broker never went through any of this. Now that led to a lawsuit. You see, once it becomes a lawsuit against the broker, now the broker may become responsible. We have a E&O policy, errors and omissions policy. It's not that easy. Do you know what the deductible we have to pay when somebody sued our broker? Is $20,000. It gets very bad. Why all this is happening? Because the broker didn't take this 2 minutes extra time to discuss this with the customer. So the customer can say, okay, thank you for the explanation, but I don't want to purchase it. I'm happy with the 65 for non-catastrophic, 1 million for catastrophic. That's fine. We cannot force the customer, but we have an obligation to let them know. So, okay, next one. In case of death due to a car accident, the standard benefits provide the surviving spouse $25,000 and each dependent will get $10,000. And for funeral, you get $6,000. That's a standard. Everybody in Ontario get the same thing. But what's the option? You can double the 25 to 50 for the spouse, and the 10,000 for dependent, you can make it to 20,000. The funeral, you can only go from 6,000 to 8,000. And you're asking the client, would you like me to add any of these options for you? Okay. Now, finally, you have the option to increase your benefit amount to offset the effects of inflation. For example, if you're receiving any accident benefits at the beginning of each year, the amount you receive will be adjusted according to the consumer price index, which is inflation. Can I add this coverage for you? Let me give you an example. So let's say in Ontario, they announced this, only an example, okay? I don't know exactly what the consumer price index as of January 1st, 2025. Let's say it's 5.6%. 5.6%, okay? The province announced it at the beginning of the year. So let's say one of your customers was injured in the past and now he's receiving some income replacement. He still continuing to receive it. Let's say he's getting $1,000 a week, okay? So what the adjuster will do, because this customer purchased the option to offset effects of inflation, they will add $56 more with the 1,000. Where to get the $56? 5.6% is the consumer price index inflation rate in Ontario. So the adjuster will add that amount for the new year. So it'll be 1,056. Why that extra amount? Because this customer purchased this option. Now they have a few dollars extra in their pocket. So it kind of offset the effect of inflation. So what is inflation? Prices going up. Okay. The dollar value going down, the price is going up. That's pretty much inflation. Okay. The final one is what we've been talking about in this whole presentation is the tort deductible. This is the final option you have to provide to the customer. And this is how we are going to, when you provide this option to the customer, don't ask them, oh, Mr. Customer, would you like to purchase the tort deductible option? One of our brokers, they asked that question and the customer were asking, what is that? You sell it by a pound or kilo or what is that? Oh, no, no, no. This is about a lawsuit. Oh, what do you mean lawsuit? You just said deductible. Okay, what's my point? It became a joke, okay? You don't want to just ask them, would you like to buy tort deductible option? The customer will know nothing about it, okay? You have to use a lawsuit and you can fit the whole example of a lawsuit within 3 or 4 sentences. If this works for you, use this when you're talking to the customer. So this is how you initiate the conversation. Suppose you're injured in an automobile accident and you launched a lawsuit against the at-fault driver. Let's further suppose that you're being awarded $100,000. You will be required to pay a deductible of $46,790. Now remember, this is 2025 amount. Depending on when you're listening to the lecture, it could be more, right? But it's 2025 account. So you do have the option to reduce this deductible amount by 10,000 to 36,790. Would you like me to add this option for you? Now this makes sense for the customer because you already gave a lawsuit example and you give the objective numbers there, how much they have to pay in a lawsuit. So this is how you want to approach it. So these are the 8 optional action benefits you must be discussing with every single customer when you set up a new automobile policy. You're going through the action benefits that you have to go through this. When you're adding a driver to the policy, when you're doing a vehicle addition or a vehicle substitution, you're supposed to go through this. So please practice this. If you find this PowerPoint useful, use this. It is a conversational, okay, if it helps you, or just use your own style, whichever, but you have to go through this, okay? Thanks everyone for your time. I'll see you in another video.